Welcome to Loose Pool, our new now regular podcast from Matchroom Pool. We're back every couple of weeks with Carl Boys, Joey Gray, Emily Fraser and myself, Nick Teal. And as always, we'll get straight in with our opening question, which this time is which one player, not from USA or Europe, would you add to your Mosconi Cup team? So, Carl Boys, a non-American or a non-European for the team?
Oh, it'd have to be Chang Jun-Lin, massive fan of his play. Does very well in all the major championships, and for me, he's without doubt top 3, top 5 player in the world. So he's somebody I would certainly like on Team Europe if I could.
Joey, same question.
I like Chang. That's a really good selection. But I love the Taiwanese, all of them. I mean, their fundamentals and they're just so solid, and their demeanor is just unbelievable. So I would go with one of the Ko brothers, preferably Ko Ping-yi.
And Emily, a promoter's dream. You can have any player you want at the Mosconi Cup. So who are you having?
Probably pick myself. I feel like I'm the only one that's willing to work hard for our events, this including our, obviously, Matchroom team. But if I was going to put anyone on, it'd be myself. Just starting up my Twitter account, my Instagram account, and my Facebook account, just making I'm there promoting it. No, I'm joking in all seriousness. I would probably go for a bird. Let's get a woman in there.
Bird?
Yeah. I would love to have someone like Ximing Chen.
Good pick. I think I'll go for a Chinese player as well. I think I'll go for Wu Jiaqing. He's won about every major title there is. He's done very well in the Matchroom arena as well, which we know is a big part of it. So, yeah, harsh on the Taiwanese players from me, but I think I'd take Wu.
It's funny how all of our picks are all sort of Taiwanese. It just shows that there's a real demand for an Asian Mosconi Cup.
Their work ethic is just undeniable. And I think that's what I train most of my players. I mean, the lower level up to the highest level is try to mirror their fundamentals and their mental game.
Well, on the subject of Party Poker Mosconi Cup selections, that, of course, was the big news last week. Finally, something positive to look forward to. And, Carl, I'll start with you. You've got a world champion on the European team.
Yeah, it seems to be the case year on, year out. European guys, do very well in all the big majors. And obviously it's been a strange year, forget pool, but just in life general. But, Fedor's on the team, rookie player. But we've seen over the years the rookies do very well in the Mosconi. And I think the main thing with Fedor is he's a fantastic cueist. He's very solid. Doesn't miss many pots, and that's what the Mosconi is about, really. It's about holding yourself together, under the extreme pressure, and I think he'll do very, very well, not just in this Mosconi, but in years to come, obviously.
Did you say rookies do? Sorry, Nick. Did you say the rookies do really well in the Mosconi?
I did, yes, but I know what you're going to say.
Oh.
Well, go on, say it, then I'll say.
Just back it up. Do you want to list them off?
Carl Boys, fantastic rookie. Joshua Filler, Alvin Ocean, Jason Shaw. Is that enough?
Okay. That's fine.
Go on, say it.
Don't make a bold statement if you can't fully back it up, right?
I've just backed up with 4 or 5 players.
I was waiting for the retort there.
But, I mean, it is a serious point you make. It's probably the only question mark left with Fedor is the Mosconi Cup arena, because it's the one thing he's not yet done.
Yeah, but it's like I just said. I just think Q sports is about, well, all sports. It's about fundamentals and your cue action, and he's a big practicer. He plays a lot of pool, plays in all the events, willing to learn. Always got questions to ask, and he's going to be fine. I can tell he's going to be just fine out there.
Your thoughts on Fedor as a rookie at the Mosconi Cup?
I would have thought that he would have gone out there and shit his pants, basically, in normal 3,000 Mosconi Cup arena. And in all fairness, I would have thought he would be the Europe the weak link. But with a scaled back crowd, we obviously, I'm saying this because I genuinely have no idea what we are doing with it. But with a scaled back crowd, I don't foresee us being able to have 3,000 spectators in there in this current climate. So I think he's actually going to go out there and smash it, because he doesn't have that typical Mosconi Cup pressure on him. Obviously, there's the pressure of the prestige of the event, but he doesn't have that fan pressure, especially also not being in USA with the USA fan. So, yeah, he's gone now from the weakest link to the strongest link, in my opinion.
Carl, is that your motivation there for Fedor? Emily said he was going to shit himself.
No, I think Emily should just stick to the promoting side and let us view the pool playing side of it, because we know what makes a good pool player, just like Emily knows what makes a good sponsor or promotion and things like that.
She doesn't know what makes a good vice captain, though. Couldn't believe when you got the gig.
Cheers, pal. You must have got me that gig. It weren't Emily, was it?
Just wanted someone different for off the rail.
Sorry, this is just Carl Boy's contract, so I'm just going to rip it up in. Actually, that's our COVID policy for Fishmania, so I'm not going to rip that up.
Joey, a word on Justin Bergman as well. He's the automatic qualifier for Team USA. He must be a player you're happy with on the team.
I'm so pumped that Justin's making it again for the team. He's, I've known him since I was 10 years old, and we've competed for so long, and I mean, we know each other really, really well. And so I'm really excited to help him reach another level. And I mean, lately he's been playing nothing but challenge matches, practicing nonstop. And he has such a strong mental game, and he's such a grinder. I mean, he can really, sometimes he feels like he's putting somebody to sleep, but he just will bear down so hard, and he'll stretch out a match and just make you weak. But he's definitely a fit for the team for sure.
Well, we'll have a bit more of a chat on the Mosconi Cup selections later, and we will hear from Justin and Fedor as well. But first, just a couple of other little bits that happened in the pool world recently, and the Hall of Fame has been announced. Kelly Fisher will be inducted this year. Of course, 3-time Women's World 9-ball champion, 6 times a Women's World Snooker champion as well. She won dozens and dozens more women's pool titles. Carl, she's a worthy inductee for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, 100%. She's one of them types of players who, she loves the cue sports. As she said, she come from the snooker world, and then when that kind of like died down, she went to America to play the 9-ball, kind of like with Alison Fisher, really. And she's done very well. She's back in Scotland now, I think, and fair play to her. But again, go back to the cue action side of it. Her fundamentals are really good, and that's probably what's helped her all her career, really.
And Emily, she's shown a lot of resilience as well to bounce back from having a heart surgery a few years ago, a double mastectomy, and she came back from that, kept winning titles, and got a 3rd world title last year. It's a really positive story.
Yeah, and fair play to her. And I think it's so great for her as a role model as such, especially for women in sport. Obviously, it's something that we're really pushing on as well. And it's just great that there's someone in pool for other female players to look up to, because she is proving that she is at the top of the game, and she is just as good as the male players as well. And I would love to see Kelly Fisher at our US Open, at our World Pool Championship. We did have her in, obviously, for World Pool Masters, but there's a new selection for next year. But I'd love to see her at those open events, and like what Simin Chen did, really, and just actually prove that she is amongst the other players. It's not just in women's sport. So yeah, hats off to her. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Fellow female, sort of doing us all proud. So fair play.
And of course, the Hall of Fame dinner would usually take place at the International Open, but that's basically one of all the major pro events which won't be taking place this year. Emily, I know we discussed it last week on Off the Rail that the US Open has gone from postponed to cancelled for this year, but I think the important thing to stress is we will be back, and I know that you're determined that means that we will be back stronger than ever before.
Yeah, of course, and we stressed on it in Off the Rail that we don't want to make decisions just for the sake of it or rush into decisions. We've obviously been sitting on this for a little while now, just seeing what happens, seeing what the current climate is like, obviously in the US. There's a lot of questions online about the fact that we're holding events over here, but we're cancelling events like the US Open. Obviously, we are a UK company, and also the climate is very different from here in the UK to over in the US at the moment. there's 256 players that are participating in the event, coming from all across the country, all across the world. So here, the World Snooker Championship, you've got all your players much coming from here in the United Kingdom, which is obviously, it just takes away any travel restrictions. And so we sat down, we looked at it, and it was actually physically impossible to stage the US Open this year. So it makes sense. Let's refund everyone's tickets, player entries, just automatically. Everyone gets their money back, and we're going to open the doors ready for next year. Let's find the right time in the calendar instead of a rush time that we couldn't really do it, and we couldn't deliver to the highest standard, and we actually couldn't deliver the event. So we'll find a time next year, and we're going to just make it bigger and better. You know, it's only year 2, the US Open. It's going to be bloody fantastic. There's so many things that we've learned here in lockdown and during this pandemic. There's different ways that we can produce events now, and we can possibly use other money in other areas that we haven't done before. And we're now taking a step back and looking at things as from a wider perspective, really. And things are going to change, and change for the better. So even though it's disappointing news, people shouldn't lose faith, because we're not going anywhere. I keep saying it. We're determined, we're passionate, we're not being lazy about the pool events. We are genuinely just making the best decisions for the events themselves and their future.
Well, of course, one major pool event that we're determined will still take place this year, the Party Poker Mosconi Cup. And let's return now to those selections we were discussing earlier. We'll hear from Justin Bourbon shortly, but first here's an extract from the interview I did with Fedor on his announcement last week.
Well, yeah, I was very happy, you know, even though I was thinking that I deserved to be on the team this year, not only because I won the world title, but also because, you know, I feel that I progressed compared to the other players as well. So, yeah, it was something that I was thinking about, of course, but of course I was very happy. Well, I really don't know how it is over there. You know, I'm pretty sure the pressure is very big because of the crowd and, you know, the atmosphere and the importance of the tournament, of course. But, you know, I have good coaches around. Alex, Johan, of course, is always around me. He knows what Mosconi Cup is, and I'm sure that he'll help me. So, yeah, I'll try my best to, you know, practice hard and to be prepared for this one. Well, you know, we had a few practice sessions with Alex already through Skype, and I have spoken to Johan about it. So, you know, I'm starting my preparation. It's still 4 months to go. I know how to deal with pressure. Well, that's what I think. But, of course, I don't know how big of the pressure out there, and I never experienced anything like that, as I said before. So I'm really looking forward for this one. Honestly, I have a problem playing under the shot clock. You know, I remember when I was playing Whirlpool Masters and the World Cup of Pool, you know, it wasn't enough time for me to think and to make right decisions. So we're working on that. And I had the chat with Carl, of course. So we're staying in contact.
Joey, Europe just added a world champion there to their roster. You can't be too pleased with that as the American vice captain to see somebody of Fedor's caliber join the team.
No, I mean, you know, he's very talented, and I've always had a lot of respect for his game. And as a person, I've only met him a few times, but he just exudes confidence, and you can tell he's going to be ready. So we're going to have to try to be double prepared.
Carl, Fedor said at the end of that little clip there that he'd had a little chat with you on the phone, and that threw me a bit because I can't imagine what a serious phone call with Carl Boys is like. But what were you chatting to Fedor about?
We're talking about girls and the pubs and stuff like that. No, I don't even think he's old enough to go to the pub, actually. No, you were just asking about experiences and what it was like when, you know, I first got in the Mosconi and what to expect. But, you know, that's what I'm saying. When I spoke to Fedor, he's just, you know, he just loves playing pool, and, you know, it's his biggest goal to get in the Mosconi, and, you know, now he's in it, and, you know, everything's just going right for him. Obviously, he won the World 9-Ball Championships, you know, showed a lot of bottle. won the World Junior Championships not so long ago. So, you know, he's all about the big stage, and I'm just excited to see, you know, what he does out there.
And the shot clock issue, he spoke about how he struggled at the Matchroom events in the past with that 30-second shot clock. How do you actually go about coaching that out of somebody, coaching them to think that quickly?
I think it's just a case of, you know, pool players really, usually your instinct is pretty much spot on. You know, when you at that sort of high level, you know, the first shot you see is usually really the right shot. But I think it's just a case of getting used to when that beep comes, you know, in 5 seconds. And a lot of players wait for the beep and then use that to their advantage. You know, so it's not such a big issue. He'll be fine.
So Fedor Gorsh joins Team Europe, and for USA, we can now hear from the iceberg, Justin Bergman.
Oh, yeah, that was the best phone call of the year. Always is whenever you know you're going to be on Mosconi. Yeah, I mean, I had an idea, but with all the stuff going on, I didn't know if they were going to go off points or, you know, so I kind of, you know, before the year or earlier in the year, I thought I was going to be a lock, but I wasn't sure, you know, how they were going to pick the team since all the points events were canceled. So I'm just glad I'm on. Like, everybody respect Jeremy's opinion here. I've played Jeremy a lot, and nobody knows more about pool than Jeremy Jones. So yeah, that means a ton coming from him. I talked to him last night actually, and we're gonna plan. I'm gonna go see him in a couple weeks, a month, and then he might come up to closer to where I live with a couple guys. So should be good.
You know what? I'm sorry, Joey, but I genuinely think USA are going to get spanked this year.
Hey, you know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But you know what? The one thing we don't care about is anybody else's but our own. I wasn't going to say you, per se. We care about what we're going to do for the players and make them different and than they normally were. But I think we're going to win.
I do feel that the Europe team are going to be super strong. And I thought that the only thing that was going to save USA was the 3,000 fans. And I thought that new picks like rookies would do a bottle job basically and wouldn't do too well in that environment. That environment's going to change.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about the American players, and they feed off each other so much more than the Europeans do, in my opinion. You know, I think that we will raise each other to another level. I know that, you know, you can have 10 world champions on a team, but that doesn't make a 5-star team. You can look at basketball. You can have one superstar, and he'll elevate the other players. It's not about making yourself great and one player making himself great. It's about elevating the players around you. And I think that America is going to be really good at that.
But do you think that watching, well, you obviously watched in December, but being there personally, seeing how the USA team were reacting with one another off of the USA crowd was absolutely fantastic. And it gave a real buzz, like this, like Skylar, Billy really bounced off of each other because of that crowd. Is that going to all fall to shit? Because they're not going to have the USA fans there.
Well, nobody can predict the future. I think that all we can do is try to prepare them as good as we can and make sure that they're ready and get them motivated to feed off of each other and try to play for one another and screw the crowd, screw the TV, screw everything else. Just play for each other and try to make it a team.
Oh, you had your vice coach fee, Joey?
Huh?
It's just a coach fee.
Well, I'm trying my best. I mean, you know, I know my role on this team, and I know I don't have any world titles or anything like that, but one thing I've always had is really, really hard work ethic, dedication, and discipline, and that's what I know about. And so that's what I'm going to try to get them to have incorporated in their game.
Joey, we know you've got some coaching sessions coming up with the players. You're going to JJ's place, and you've got a couple of players coming in each time. Just tell us how that's going to look and how you're going to work with the guys. Well,
for the most part, we'll do a lot of match play, but we have specific drills for each player. It's going to be different for each guy. But just really getting them to work hard and getting through to them mentally, because one thing we know for sure is if you break through mentally, then the physical just comes together. When you're talking about the highest level players in the world, it doesn't matter who it is, Carl, Jeremy, Justin, it doesn't matter. Whenever you're mentally strong, your physical capabilities just bloom. And so that's really where we're going to go with that.
Carl, obviously with the travel restrictions around Europe, yourself and Alex can't be doing these personal coaching sessions. You're relying on Skype and Zoom and the like. You're a little bit jealous of what the Americans have got there.
No, not really, because, I just think, all the guys can play pool. They've all won the big titles and everything. It's just a case of getting everyone together, making sure everyone's on the same page. And for me, I just think it's about making sure that people are comfortable. Do you know what I mean? I remember when I was playing, I was quite lucky because I always had another Brit in the team. So I sort of fed off them and they feed off me and things like that. I think that's what, at the end of the day, you would think Jason Shaw's going to make the team. Let's not be silly. The last 2 years, he's not had a British person around him in the team. That's what I'm saying. I was lucky I had that. So I think with me involved, I think you're going to see a better Jason Shaw because we've not really seen the best of Jason Shaw in Mosconi yet. And I just think this year it's all about making sure everyone's getting on correct. Because there's a lot of, when the Americans playing it together, they're all American. But even though we're European, you've got Germans, you've got Polish, and, everyone's from everywhere. And it can get a bit lost in transmission. And I think that's the big thing what I want to work on this year. Just get everyone, acting like proper friends and having a laugh and, taking the mick out of each other and just getting everyone relaxed.
In his interview, Justin Bergman said this will probably be Europe's best ever team, and he's got a point. You've got the world champion automatically and then 4 wildcards to pick, so no excuses, no pressure.
Yeah, I mean, obviously every year you can look at European team and say, oh, he's won US Open, he's won the World Championships or whatever. And a bit like Joey said, you don't have to have 5 world champions to make a great team. It could be disastrous, to be fair. But the thing is, at the end of the day, you've got to just get everybody playing together, having a good time, having a laugh. Everyone knows what they've got to do. But that's what I'm excited about most this year. There's no stupid players coming through wild cards off European tours and all this. The beauty of this year is we can pick 4 wild cards. So, we're going to use that to our favour. Basically, you ain't getting in the Mosconi if you've had a nightmare, put it that way. You won't be seeing this year, I can assure you.
Well, I think we can read between the lines on that one, Carl, but that's enough now on the Mosconi Cup. Plenty of chat, of course, about the Party-Poker Mosconi Cup between now and the event as the captains unveil their wildcards over the next few weeks. But Emily, something that we put out on social media last week was off the rail, and we separately clicked up that little rant you had at the end about social media. Just wanted to go back to it a little bit because it's sort of given us the idea of doing a new Fraser Fumes section as well, because it was quite the rant that was.
You know what? And that's a really good idea. When I go on a rant, you see this vein here.
Oh,
that's
wow.
about to play, then it knows that it's serious and I'm really fuming. But
is that 'cause I'm late?
Huh?
Is that because I was late?
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Emily, in fairness, tell everybody how punctual I am. This was an honest, genuine mistake.
I literally don't have any correspondence of you being punctual or responsible. So
US Open. The US Open, I was there at 9 o'clock, was last to leave. I was brushing tables, cleaning the balls. I was doing everything.
You weren't doing the latter two. You, in fairness, were there on time, but you look like a state. I mean, Carl Boy should not be allowed to wear skinny jeans. Unless
What do you mean?
You shouldn't be allowed to wear skinny jeans. You're just not cool enough for it. Okay?
Right,
I'm not mad about anything as long as he wears the New York hat. That's all I care about.
Late to this meeting. It was ridiculous. We all got here on time. I didn't even have internet and I got here. But anyway.
I shot it. No.
Do you know, I think there's been, I've had a few of the players messaging me as well. Obviously, some have been expressing heroing that video, that they love the fact that that's come out, because obviously some players really actually put time and consideration into their social media accounts. And I'll say it as well, it actually does take a lot of time. Like, we do it here ourselves, and it is very time consuming, and it does take a real job to do. And so some players have actually come back to me and said, you know, I think this is a really good shout. And it's kind of like a little bit like Marmite. Everyone's either loved it or they fucking hate it. Other players, like Billy Thorpe's, messaged me saying, what the fuck is this? What do you want about? So he's not at the event. No, I'm just kidding. But I think it's more that people maybe don't understand. Maybe I didn't explain it well enough. But what I was really trying to get at is that you saw the start of Fight Camp here at Maskell's, Matchroom HQ, which is the first live boxing back since the pandemic. And what I was trying to explain was, on Twitter, all throughout the evening that our live session was on, Fight Camp was trending on Twitter. And we've never once had that for any of our pool events. Now, we may get thousands and thousands of views on Facebook during our events, because that's where everyone kind of congregates, but they're all the same audience, all the same people. So people following Shane Van Boning also follow Billy Thorpe, also follow Jeremy Jones, also follow Darren Appleton. Everyone, it's all the same audience. But what was happening on Twitter here in the UK for boxing, other boxers were jumping on Twitter and everyone was talking about it on Twitter. No one does that for pool because no one's bloody on it. So this is what I'm trying to express. Everyone needs to be on these accounts. I'm not saying no one can say what they think and it has to be all strict and they have to pay for their social accounts. No, just professionalize it. What I don't like seeing is people doing Facebook Lives where they're out smashed and pissed. Like, you just wouldn't do that. So everyone now needs to understand what it's like to actually be a sportsman. For so long, everyone keeps saying pool players are corrupt. That's why people won't sponsor our events, because pool's corrupt. No, they're not pool players. They are athletes. They are sportsmen. This is what we're trying to portray. We can do that from our social media accounts, 100%. But when we're doing it and the players aren't backing it up and they're not actually supporting us, what is the bloody point? This is what I'm asking. I'm asking for players to support us, work with us. And when I'm saying, you know, they're posting about raffles and things like that, I understand pool is not quite up there in making money. We're in a situation right now where there are no live pool events and players have to try and find a way to earn a living. But we need to work together and to start somewhere. And we're not going to get anywhere unless we all pull it together and we realize that this industry isn't professional yet. We're not where we need to be. And I'm only stressing this because it is so frustrating for us to see, because we can see the potential that our 5 events have. We're the best in the business. We do all the best social media, but we need the players' support. And that's all I'm doing, is I'm begging them to do it. And obviously Nick's asked me about it and I've gone off on an absolute rant. But
shock.
I'm so passionate about it. But I'll be more than happy to explain it to the players. But when we're trying to pitch these events and we're trying to actually pitch athletes to these sponsors, and then they go on their Facebook or something like that, or they go on a Twitter, they're not even on Twitter. You don't get to the level of the superstars of gymnastics that we do, where you've got Simone Biles there, who are celebrities. You need to make these pool players celebrities, and that was obviously my major concern on it.
Emily, did you buy any raffle tickets, by the way?
And I think that is probably where we should leave it before we get a little bit carried away.
That
We
vein,
probably lose
Emily,
pool,
that
and that's what
vein.
we've got. We'll be back in a few weeks' time with more loose pool. Between now and then, some more Mosconi Cup announcements. But I think, you want the last word.
Nick, I just want to give a shout out to Nick Till, because I found this earlier, right? This was from my highlights on my phone from Instagram.
What is this?
I think that Nick's really gone up in the world, because look at his last job, which he's been promoted from. Ready? Hang on. Ready? There he is. There's Nick Teal.
You got to start somewhere.
That really made my day today. I love that.
That is mucking in, and that's what we do.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Well, look, Carl, Joey, Emily, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Loose Pool, and we'll be back soon.